So the Muslim just like ejected himself out of here under extreme rage because I realized that the dude never said sorry. A year and a half back, maybe like a year back, I was getting information from somebody after I was uncovering it myself. Like I was uncovering it like in real time. You know, it's like I came into this relationship and then I go into the cult and the organization, all these immigrants, which is fine. We love immigration. Don't get me wrong. We love all people. And then me as an American, I go into this vicinity and I'm like, there's a snake in the vicinity. There is a huge snake in the vicinity. And they all say with their tongue that they love me, I love her, but then their actions speak otherwise. Their actions were vile, jealous, rude, inconceivable. The things I saw were like, I can't even believe it. And I still like never had any kind of like American stance on it. I'm just like, this is weird. There is a snake in the room. So let me find the head of the snake. And then in what I thought was supposed to be some kind of like confidential revealing, I'm like, dude, there's a head to the snake. And I found the head to the snake. And there's a figure of speech in America. It's off with their heads. There's another one that's similar that is like the same thing. Dude, we're not going to chop your effing head off. That's insane. No one's going to chop your effing head off. That's insane. I don't have a guillotine. Do you think I'm just going to like kidnap you? No, it's a figure of speech. It's when you're in a room full of snakes, you have to find the head of the snake. So I found the head of the snake and I'm like, dude, I want to chop the head off that snake. Metaphorically speaking. These people catch wind of it and they're like, this girl wants to chop the head off of this other girl. Woman, old lady. And then they send the FBI to my door and they're like, we heard that you don't like Muslims. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with Muslims. I'm like, I don't like human traffickers. It was evident to me that they were pedophiles because every conversation was them just saying we're pedophiles. Cryptically. They're like, I'm a pedophile, we're pedophiles. Cryptically. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then like the rabbit hole just keeps going deeper. And they bring people in illegally, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong. I am all for immigration, whether it's legal or illegal. I don't give a shit. I hate borders. I want open borders for the entire world. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have nothing against immigrants. Whether they come in legally or illegally, I have the same amount of empathy because I am not a conservative, creepy old dude. I have the same amount of respect for everybody who comes into this country. It had nothing to do with that. But you can't bring your culture and then expect that it's going to be the dominant culture. And I like wasn't like, oh, I need to be the dominant culture. I just came into a culture that immigrated into America and I'm like, these people aren't nice to me. And that's weird because I'm an American. Like, fast forward, this is all coming full circle. I'm like, I'm an American. Yeah, this is not my land. This is like stolen land. But like what they don't know is like I do have Native American DNA. I've got immigrant DNA. So yeah, no, I don't own this land, but in this nation, we do have a culture. And our culture is the truth. It's love, it's honesty, it's forgiveness, and it's purity. So when I come into an arena of a group full of Muslims and they're not nice to me, they're not nice. They say the nicest shit you would ever hear, but I'm like, the reality is they're not nice to me at all. They're saying the weirdest stuff ever. They're like, oh, we want to control this dude and like he's ours. And like just have a baby, just get knocked up, who cares? Meanwhile, they're doing witchcraft over the baby. They want to steal, kill, and destroy. I'm like, God tells me otherwise. God tells me that you actually have another agenda. You're in this country because you have another agenda. They're Mossad. It was Mossad agents. Whatever. Like, can't prove it. But you know what? Some of the most generous people that are turning their back on the entire Mossad, the Mossad's going to split into two. But people recently have been like, yup, we're Mossad. That's all Mossad. They're turning on each other because they see that the winning side is not the people they sent in. They're like, oh shit, these people are finding it out, and we're gonna just like evolve with the times. It's like evolve or die. So I make a sentiment that I recognize there's a snake in the room, and I find the head of the snake. And I tell it to my boyfriend in confidence. I'm like, I want to cut the head off that snake. And he's like, you want to cut her head off, right? Because he's just weird and crazy. And they're like, oh my God, this chick. And they've been spending the entire year doting on this. None of them know me, but they've been fabricating this lie and this like illusion of who Lauren Pritchard is this entire time. He revealed to me yesterday, he's like, we've been thinking this whole time that like, if Jesus told you to kill us, then you would just do it. And we think you're crazy. And I said, you know, if you think that I'm crazy and that's what you believe, I have to say, like, I also, in the same sense, think it's crazy that you would think that. From an American Christian woman, I'm like, it's crazy to me that you people would think that way. And you only hang out with each other, and you've been reciting this narrative for this entire year. You've just been reciting the same narrative for an entire year. You've been painting me as some kind of villain this entire year when most of them don't even know me. I'm like, you know, and I'm not even like, whatever, but seriously, honestly, like, truthfully, like, you're in my country. So, like, you can't come into my country. And they're like, oh, it's not your country. Okay, I am so for open borders. But at the same time, respect our culture. Respect the culture between men and women. Women have an opinion. We do say our opinion. We're going to express our opinion. We're going to recognize a snake in the room, and we're going to, what I thought was, profess it in confidentiality that there's a snake in the room. And I'm like, I just want to cut the head off that snake. Because there's a problem in the room, and I recognize the problem, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get rid of that problem. But they all took it as if I was some kind of like decapitating, like murderous person. These are Muslim people. And I'm a Christian woman. And I'm like, no, we have something that they don't have. We possess something that they don't have. Does it make us better? I don't think so. But it doesn't make you better to just run around in circles for a year saying that I'm the worst person ever. These people have deemed me as like the worst person ever, and none of them know me. None of them know me. And they sent the FBI at my door like, oh, are you anti-Muslim? And I'm like, no, I'm like anti-human trafficker. And I suspect these people are doing human trafficking, which was confirmed. They were actually doing human trafficking. And then I am like, I'm not all against it because I think that people deserve a better life, whether they're coming in legally or illegally, but they're bringing people in illegally. But you know what? I hate the American immigration bullshit. So like, I'm never going to go against that. But at the same time, there's still sex crimes. There's pornography crimes. There are crimes that are being committed in other countries, and these Muslims are sitting in America perpetuating crimes overseas that are getting immunity because their physical vessel is in America. Meanwhile, they're perpetuating crimes in other countries. And I said to the FBI, I don't like these people. It's like I have nothing against Muslims. I have something against people who come into our country while through the internet they perpetuate crimes, human trafficking, sex trafficking, webcam girls in other countries. In Romania, they were doing it in Romania. I'm like, I have a problem with people who are doing sex crimes and then finding some kind of diplomatic immunity in the United States. That's all. And they were like, well, we also hate those people also. You know, like, and it, like, we don't hate anybody, but they're like, we don't like those people also. But the claims need to be substantiated. But they won't substantiate them because the entire system is rigged to where it's like a free-for-all. And that's fine. But why can't men and women get along? You can't come into our country and just perpetuate all the nonsense and protect every single head of the snake that you found yourself around and expect an American person to not say something about it, to not do something about it. No, we don't want to deport you. No, we don't want any harm to come to you. But culturally, we don't want this culture of the whore of Babylon in America. The head of the snake is a whore of Babylon. It's an antichrist spirit. We don't want that shit. We don't want it. So they spent this whole time creating this smear campaign against me. And they're like, well, you don't even own this land. And I'm like, okay, so what difference does it make? I have an authority under Christ within me to tell the truth. Like, I have an authority within Christ within me that's like, see something, say something. And I said something. And they took it as like, she wants to literally chop our fucking head off. This one chick. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't want to chop her head off. It's a figure of speech. When there's a snake in the cult, there's a head. And you find the head and you're like, yeah, just get rid of that. Off of their heads. It's a figure of speech. I'm not going to chop anyone's fucking head off. Are you kidding? But they ran with it. Why? Because they wanted to. They ran with it because they wanted to. They wanted to because people conjoin around each other around a negative smear campaign around someone else. And it's like giving legal dominion over my life when one of them tries to keep coming around, when in reality, it's like, no, you need to say you're sorry. You need to repent. You need to remove yourself. You need to get away from it all. I don't care what negative consequences came to them. You need to say you're sorry. Also, you were sorry for relaying a text message that was supposed to be it wasn't supposed to be confidential, but you wouldn't think that someone you love was just going to go and be like, oh, well, this is what she said. And then they were like creating a cult around like this anti-Lauren hate, this anti-American rhetoric, this anti-Christian rhetoric. Muslims, just like Christians have satanic panic, Muslims have like Christian panic. Dude, no one's going to cut your head off. Obviously, it's a figure of speech. And you can't come into our country. I'm sorry. You can go wherever you want, but you're not going to come around me and think that you can continue your culture of the man against the woman. The men are all super adulterous, and the women are also super adulterous. And if they're not, they're super submissive for no reason. They don't know any different. You can't do this. That's all I'm saying is like, this is not under Christ. It's not under God. Like, you can't do this. And they've been doing this for like a year. And finally, I'm like, say you're sorry. And the dude loses his mind. I mean, how is it that complicated? Just be sorry to the people that you did harm to for no reason. And like, well, you did harm to us. Why? Because I made a figure of speech and I turned out to be correct? No, like, and seriously, like, I turned out to be correct. Everything came falling down after I turned out to be correct. Why would I apologize for that? I had to say something because I need the truth to prevail, because our reality cannot coexist with a combative reality and a combative culture. See something, say something. I said something. And it didn't need to be what all these people for all this time have chalked it up to be. They were making fun of me, saying I'm like this creepy, crazy, like, mother murderer. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? You people have been saying this for all this time, and like, none of them know me. They've just been like passing it around. They're like, are you crazy or are you Lauren crazy? I'm like, none of these people actually know me. They've just been like conjoining under a cult, and they're all immigrants, which is fine. We love that. But like, adopt our culture. We respect love, the truth, and beauty, but they think the truth just lies within secrecy. They think that their truth just lies within secrecy. And just like not looking at it, not paying attention, not noticing. And I came around and I'm like, look, pay attention, notice. And they all did. And the chips fell, but they continued on. So no, I do deserve a sorry. I do deserve an apology, because the entire chips, all the chips fell because of what I said. But they're trying to hold on to this narrative that it's somehow still like we're a cult under the hatred of Lauren Pritchard and American Christians. Get the frig out of here, dude. Stop. This is insane. It's so far from the truth, it's like not even funny. Like, it's actually the inversion of who I am. But a lot of people do this in their cults, and they paint me as the opposite of who I am. There's like entire accounts dedicated to saying I'm Lilith. I kill mothers and children. I'm not killing mothers and children, but if you bore kids and no one wants to take care of you because you're such a bitch as the shit falls, that's not me doing it. That's you. See, people are like, she did this, when actually they did it. Like, you did it. No. People don't like you because of who you are, not because of what Lauren Pritchard said. People don't want to take care of you because of who you are, not because of what Lauren Pritchard said, not because of what the Christians said, not because of what the Americans said. No, people don't want to F with you because of who you are. This is not grounds for truth. This is just a cult. This is just a negative inversion reality of people who will probably find the most misfortune in the upcoming days. But I'm not the almighty person. Just go to God. I mean, seriously, if Allah is God, then people will be fine. If you're following Allah and it's actually Satan and it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? That's on you. That's on you. It's crazy. People fall into misfortune and they're like, they want to blame just anybody. They want to blame anybody but themselves. No, blame yourself. No, point the finger at yourself. Don't point the finger at the person who pointed it out. Point the finger at yourself, because people point the finger at me and nothing ever comes to fruition. You just create like bigger and crazier cults around a hatred for Lauren Pritchard. That's all you do. And then when misfortune comes your way, you're going to say, it's Lauren Pritchard doing it. It was never me doing it. It was only you creating an idol out of me, thinking that I'm somehow a product of your misfortune, when you actually did the thing. You were actually rude to me. You were actually hyper controlling of my boyfriend. You wanted to control his money. You wanted to control his time. You wanted to control his penis. But his money, his time, and his penis should have belonged to me. But you wanted to control his money, penis, and time. So it comes on to you. It's your problem when the shit fails. It's your problem when it doesn't work out. It's not my problem. It wasn't my doing, but you can blame it on me all you want. It will not make a difference. I will not be like, oh my God. I will just know that these people will just find blame in anything. I've had all these dreams of all this misfortune coming to people, and they're going to look for blame anywhere they can find it, and they're going to point the finger at me, and I'm already prepared to not care. I'm already prepared to not care. I am prepared to not care when people want to point the finger at me and say I am somehow the reason of their misfortune. That's crazy. But that's what human beings of the flesh, without God, without understanding, this is what they do. They're going to blame any other idol other than themselves. They're going to point the finger out to anybody other than themselves. And I'm prepared to be like, okay, do it. Like, I just will not care, because I can't care, because you are the subject of shitty circumstance. It's because of you. It's because of you, and you can't take accountability. You can't take accountability for anything. You can't self-reflect. You can't say you're sorry. It's not me, it's you, for being liars, for being in a cult of people who don't have good survival skills. It's on you, not me. Not me. Riley Rage. I miss the old internet. This place sucks. I know, right? But the internet will probably get wiped. That's why I don't care. I post like crazy stuff like, oh, my reputation, I don't care. My reputation online is terrible. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably pretty freaking fantastic, actually. But I don't care, because the internet will likely get wiped. Just like we can barely remember the nonsense these people did to us. Like, I can barely remember. It's weird. It's like, I can barely remember all the BS that you people did to me. But I guess for a year, you've been stewing in all the nonsense you think I did to you. You've just been like doting on it, ruminating in it, obsessing over me, watching me like monitoring spirits. He's like, we've been watching you, watching me like monitoring spirits. You're the ones who've been ruminating in nonsense. I'm over here like, I can barely remember all the creepy and crazy things you did and said. And the reason why I was like, gotta go. You were not nice. You were not kind. Come into this country, be nice and kind, be normal. And they're like, well, you are not nice and kind because you were fucking mean as hell. You said the most ass backwards stuff. Like, we love her. She's so wonderful. She's so beautiful. But when people weren't paying attention, they were so freaking creepy, crazy, saying the meanest things ever, saying the most insane things ever, and then like nobody believed me, right? And it didn't take much. It was like I didn't have to tell like virtually anybody. It just took one little antichrist spirit to be like, oh my God, listen to what she said. And I was trying to tell him in confidence, like, dude, these people are not nice to me. Like, they say they love me and I'm so beautiful, wonderful, oh my God. But I'm like, listen to the shit that they're saying to me when you're not paying attention. Look at the shit they're doing to me when you're not paying attention. Look at the controlling nature that they have over your life. And it checks out and it checks out and it checks out. But I'm somehow the villain. That's not my problem. That's going to be a you problem, not a me problem. See, all this stuff, when shit hits the fan, a lot of times, not every time, but it's going to be a you problem, not a me problem. Okay? All right. Check you later.